There is a place inside the Titanic that almost no one knows about. A deck so deep that sunlight has never touched it. A place where time seems frozen, where silence is heavier than the ocean above. And it was here, in this forgotten darkness, that some of the richest people in the world spent the final hours of their lives. Divers call it only by a whispered name, the darkest deck. The story begins on a calm afternoon, when a team of professional deep-sea divers decided to explore a sealed section of the wreck, a section believed to be inaccessible for more than a century. As they descended through the freezing Atlantic water and approached the broken steel doorway, their lights pierced a void untouched since 1912. Behind the warped metal, a world swallowed in eternal night waited. As they entered, the beam of their lights revealed the first hallway. Rust covered every inch of the walls. Dust and debris floated in the water like drifting snow. Old carts, collapsed beds, and scattered luggage lay across the floor, as if people had abandoned them in desperation. The silence was so absolute that the divers could hear their own breaths echoing inside their masks. Then they found the first clue. A skeleton, sitting upright against the wall, leaning as though the person had simply rested for a moment and never stood up again. Next to the bones lay a silver pocket. Watch the hands forever stopped at 2:45 a.m. Few people know that the Titanic had a private, hidden deck reserved for its wealthiest passengers. It was designed to give the richest men in the world privacy from the crowds above. But when the ship began to sink, these men were led here with a promise, the promise that rescue boats would come for them. That promise never came. The divers moved into a large chamber. Rows of iron beds, now twisted with rust, lined the walls. One skeleton lay perfectly centered on a bed, as if asleep. In its bony hand, it still clutched a small wooden jewelry box. Inside, untouched by time, was a massive diamond ring, still glittering under the divers' lights. Whoever this person had been, they must have believed they would survive. They held on to their last symbol of wealth, waiting in the darkness for help that never arrived. Farther in, the divers found a huge hole torn through the ceiling. Greenish-blue light filtered down from the ocean above, casting an eerie glow across the room. Beneath the broken opening lay 3 skeletons side by side. Between them, the remnants of a notebook floated gently. Only one line remained readable. "If anyone finds this place, tell the world, we did not run." The ocean had held onto their voices for more than a century. Around the room lay objects preserved by the cold and darkness. Old medicine bottles half buried in silt, a twisted wheelchair, a lantern swinging slightly as the water stirred, tattered sheets swaying like ghostly ribbons. The divers realized the room looked less like a ruin and more like a museum locked in time, untouched by human hands. Everything had decayed, slowly, quietly, patiently. Why was this area never explored? Why was it hidden from history? An old veteran diver once said, "The skeletons of millionaires lying in that deck, that was something the world wasn't ready to see." It revealed a truth harsher than any legend, that not even wealth could buy salvation that night. When the Titanic slipped beneath the waves, this deck became a silent grave for those who had lived at the top of society. In one final corner, the divers found another skeleton seated beside a bed, clutching a nearly dissolved journal. Only one sentence could be read: "We heard footsteps above us." But no one returned. Even underwater, in the cold heart of the Atlantic, those words sent chills through the team. When the exploration ended and the divers prepared to leave, they turned off their lights for just a moment. In that darkness, only faint beams from the broken ceiling illuminated the stillness, the twisted beds, the ghostly sheets, the unblinking skulls resting where they had fallen. The ocean whispered softly through the gaps in the wreck, carrying the stories of those who had waited for help that never came. And on that day, the divers left with a truth they would never forget. It wasn't the grand staircase, nor the gilded dining halls. nor the luxurious first-class cabins that held the most tragic chapter of the Titanic. It was the darkest deck, the place no one spoke of, that revealed the true depth of that night's despair. To this day, the souls of those who waited in silence still lie there among the rusted beds, holding on to the last memories of a world that forgot them, surrounded by the eternal midnight of the sea.